Hello there, everyone. Eric Padden, and first of all, let me just thank you for taking some of your valuable time to take a look at this video. What we're going to be doing on this video is discussing the Comex silver exchange. And is there a possibility of a default? We're hearing more and more rumors out there now. Ever since, if you recall, basically Jeffrey Christian at the CFTC hearings was basically kind of letting the cat out of the bag, so to speak, in that precious metals are basically financial assets and they trade like currencies, T-bills, T-bonds, and basically they trade in multiples of 100 times the physical. And so once that got out, people actually started to take a second look at that manipulation rumor that was out there with JP Morgan, HSBC, basically flooding the markets with millions and millions and millions of ounces of silver that didn't even really exist in physical form. And so once that was actually finally brought to light via the hearings at the CFTC, you've seen huge and regular withdrawals being taken out of physical silver. And so the smart money is now getting their physical silver out and having it somewhere where they actually have access to it. And what's happening now is that you're finding the pressure of supply and demand. If you've seen some of my other videos, you've heard me talk about the fundamentals in silver and how basically from 1950 we've gone from about 10 billion ounces roughly of above ground silver to where today we've only got about 6, 7, 8, you hear no more than maybe 900 million ounces of silver above ground. And yet they're trading millions and millions and millions, even billions of ounces of silver if you're considering futures and so on, that isn't even out there. And now that it's been admitted that they trade like T-bills and treasury bills and other currencies and basically 100 times the underlying physical, you're finding now people are taking that a lot more seriously. And that's when you've seen silver start to break away and start to bridge that gap. You've heard me talk in my other videos about how historically, over the last 5,000 years, you've been around 15 to 1 ratio between silver and gold, meaning basically it took about 15 ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold over the last 5,000 years, somewhere in that range. Now recently, we were just a couple years ago with the serious silver manipulation that was going on, you were finding 70 to 1, it's been getting closer, now it's 60 to 1. As I make this video, we're actually all the way to 38 to 1 now. And so silver's starting to gain. But you just heard me mention how we've gone from in 1950, where there were 10 billion ounces of physical silver available, to just under a billion today. And yet the demand is picking up faster than ever before. You're finding now there's more and more industrial uses. You never had China and India a big demand, for silver as they have become recently. And if you compare it to gold, look at gold, where maybe in, say, 1950, there were only about 1 billion ounces of gold above ground. And so you could justify, it was logical at that time, that gold might be, at least 10 times more valuable than silver. It was simply there was a lot more silver out there. And so it made sense with supply and demand. Now, if you fast forward to today, because gold is being hoarded and being put away, virtually all the gold that's ever been mined is still out there. And so because of that, you're looking over 6 billion, there's estimates now approaching 7 billion ounces of gold out there, and yet we're still less than 1 billion ounces of silver. And so think about that for a moment. What's wrong with that picture? You've got basically 7 billion ounces of gold physical available above ground, and yet there's only maybe 1 billion ounces of silver. And yet if you look at the values, they're completely flip-flopped. The values, it takes about 38 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. So logic tells you that that should be reversed. If you look at it from a supply and demand perspective, silver should be worth more than gold. And so people are catching on. Historically, you always had gold was a much bigger market, even 100 times bigger than silver. And lately, it had actually got to where it was 1 to 1 as far as dollars being traded each day. You were looking at about 1 to 1, and now, even more recently, you're finding silver is actually much more active. There's more people trading in silver than in gold because it's so undervalued. And so I think what's happening is that supply and demand, basic fundamentals in silver is starting to catch up with the reality that people are now being made aware that they've been trading this, 100 to 1. So in other words, there's been 100 ounces of paper out there through the ETFs like SLV and so on. And yet, as far as physical silver, available to back that up, what if everybody went and said, I want my silver? If they read their fine print on the SLV and the GLD ETFs, they're going to find that there is no guarantee of physical metal. They actually reserve the right to give you the equivalent in paper. And of course that's what they're going to do. And so people are now starting to demand physical silver. And you're finding there's delays. If I was to get on, I'm just ordering more silver as we speak. I got my family ordering some more. People are starting to wake up and take it more seriously. And so I had my father just put another 10 grand in from paper into silver. My father-in-law and I were each pitching another 2,500 each, getting the volume up to get the very best deal that we can. If any of you are interested in getting some silver yourself, let me know. I have a club where I get it at wholesale, and so I'm always pitching with friends or family, and we get it at wholesale rates, but we could even get a little bigger discount if we go in decent volume. So anyway, I'm noticing that on the bullions and the Gainesville coins and a lot of the ones I used to order from before I got in the wholesale club, they all say delayed on silver eagles. You might be aware that silver eagles, maple leafs, are not being printed right now. They've actually shut off circulation. So there's no question that it's no longer a rumor. You're seeing that there really is a short supply in silver out there. And that now, as a result of that, people are starting to wonder, if everybody went and asked for their silver all at one time, could there be a default? And the answer is absolutely. And there's web bots that even predicted that there will be a default. And they predict it's going to start somewhere in Europe and then quickly, boom, spread. And of course, that's going to cause physical silver to absolutely skyrocket. And so there's some interesting factors going on out there in the silver market and precious metals in general. And I'm a believer that one of the main reasons that the silver has been held so cheap for so long is that the elite, for lack of a better term, people basically pulling the strings, running the Federal Reserve banks, they already control the gold. Okay, most of us are aware of that. And different governments via their Federal Reserve banks, which are privately held banking cartels basically, have tons and tons of gold stored away. However, it's not as easy for them to get a hold of the silver. And so their strategy has become to just simply destroy it, because they don't really care who has it. They just want to make sure that we don't, the common man. So whether they have it or whether they can destroy it, it's all the same to them. They know that historically, whenever these debt-based currencies that they create go through their cycles and crash, everybody runs to physical metals, whether it be gold, silver, even food, other metals, what have you. But generally, it's gold and silver is what the masses will go to whenever the fiat currencies, the debt-based fiat currencies, all end up crashing eventually. And I think that's what's happened. That's why they've been manipulating the silver and the gold down so long, is not only to keep the confidence up in their various fiat currencies around the world, but also to make it so cheap to use industrial metal, silver. And I think that's what's been going on. They're trying to destroy it, and they've done a great job. We've taken 97% of the silver above ground, and it's not there anymore. Most of it's been used up and is gone forever. Some of it has been put away by people that are smart enough to put it away. And I think those are the ones that when the dollar finally does crash, they're shooting for late 2012. And it makes sense. If you look at what we've lost from 1913, they created the Federal Reserve, and you've lost roughly about 1% a year since then, to where we've lost today, since 1913, 98 years, we've lost 98% of our purchasing power with our dollar. So if we can take a 98-year trend and assume that it might last 2 more years, then our dollars would be worth zero. So it makes sense that that would be the plan, that that's their time for crashing the dollar and going to this new currency. So if you're in a position of strength and you've got metals to go into this new currency, you're going to be a lot better off than the guy that had $1 million or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 in his 401k or IRA that is no longer there because the dollar's crashed and is now worthless. So you can see some of my other videos if you'd like a little more information on some of those other topics. This particular one is about the Comex and could it default, and absolutely it can. Matter of fact, it's not if, it's when. Once again, they're selling, okay? Jeffrey Christian said under oath to the CFTC that it's like every other, asset. It's a financial asset, and that it trades like T-bills and T-bonds and 100 times the physical, metal. And so it doesn't take rocket science to figure out. Everybody wants their silver. 99 people out of 100 aren't going to get it. So make sure you're one of them that thinks ahead and has it in advance. If you're interested in getting some silver, I can help you out, whether you just want to buy a roll or 2 or 3 or 4 or a monster box. I can get you gold coins, silver coins at absolute wholesale prices, the best prices out there. If you just want to do a slow, steady collection, we can send you out a coin on auto ship every month. Go ahead and jump on my blog if you would, and you can take a closer look at my site there. I have a lot of different videos and stuff on there, different issues to educate yourself and hopefully put yourself in a position of strength. So going into a new currency or whatever it is, we can be in a great position And some of those other videos even talk about maybe when to get out of your silver, into real estate or into, other currency, whatever it might be. So anyway, if you'd like, you can get on there at isncoinsbusiness.com, and you can also reach me at 858-705-2487. Once again, Eric Padden, and thanks again for taking your time today. You can get on isncoinsbusiness.com or give me a buzz, 858-705-2487. And whether you go through me or not, make sure and get your physical silver while you still can. Thanks again, and have a great day. I'll catch up with you in the next video.